Let me tell you something about older black men before we get back to Lindsey Graham. Average older black men, not the younger ones, not the ones that have now started to become more educated. Average older black men, in most instances, are undereducated.
Is this what you do all day? Sit there reading books that make you think better of yourself, huh?
Can't spell correctly.
Black man can't get nowhere with his little pecan-sized mind.
Can't read past a 3rd grade level.
So now you can read. Now what? What you gonna do now?
They need to really die off. And they need to really die off.
I went over to Facebook to respond to some comments on some of my videos, and I guess one of the videos ended up in the manosphere, and there were a whole bunch of older black men commenting on this video. The sentences were so poorly structured that I couldn't even tell if I was supposed to be offended.
Black men are too obsessed with bioessentialism to move forward because bioessentialism was one of the only places that granted them power. As a black man within a patriarchal society, you're told that there's this power that you're supposed to have because you're a man, but you're denied that opportunity to utilize that power because you're black, right?
Like, I was reading it and I was like, this does not convey a complete thought. There was no punctuation, there was no capitalization, there were no periods. It was just a hodgepodge of words.
And I think that black men are obsessed with the concept of bioessentialism and being bioessentialist because it allows them to feel like they do have some power, and it is inherently given to them through nature. A power that white men can't deny them of.
A literal word salad in my comment section. I just liked all of the comments and kept it moving because I was like, what they say does not matter.
And every single take that I've given about gender roles, almost every man in the comment section pushes back with this bioessentialist babble.
Bioessentialism has become the term ever. So, welcome to Unbuzzwording, a series where I take a word's misuse and try to clarify it as much as possible. Let's start by understanding essentialism itself. A few years ago, Plato and Aristotle were big on essence, forms, essential properties, universals, whatever you want to call it. A perfect circle does not exist in observable nature. We can still conceive of it, and we identify all of these as circles. Why? Because they have the essence of circle, a perfect idea of circleness that is essential to all circles. And this goes for literally everything. All objects, all things, all ideas must have an essence that make it what it is. Essence defines the nature of that thing, and without it, it would not be that kind of thing at all. This is essentialism, the idea that something is determined by a core essential essence. Now, bioessentialism is the idea that human behavior, traits, personality, who you are, is entirely determined by one's biology. This is typically spoken about in the context of gender. I study sociology and philosophy, and in my academic field, this is largely agreed to be an absurd idea. But then if nature is not wholly responsible for who we are, why is it that we see so many gendered patterns between men and women? Many people do fall into these stereotypical archetypes. Surely there must be an explanation. Now, if it's not entirely nature, then it must be nurture. And disclaimer, the nature versus nurture argument is very complicated and divisive. The takeaway here is that it's not 100% one or the other. Anyway, welcome to social constructionism.
From the American Institute of Boys and Men, over the past 50 years, higher education has gone through a dramatic transformation. Women now significantly outpace men in college attendance and bachelor degree completion. As a result, men's share of degrees has declined sharply across nearly all fields. Yet beneath this broad demographic shift, there is remarkable stability in the gendered nature of college major choice.
The archetype of the divine feminine is just rebranded misogyny and leads to bioessentialism and transphobia. Let's talk about it. The key phrases used when talking about the divine feminine is soft and desirable, and it teaches a notion in which people that are born into feminine bodies are placed into gender expectations that align with patriarchal femininity. And the reason why so many people who adhere to the divine feminine archetype don't realize that it's actually misogynistic is because it's rebranded as this, you get all of these things if you step into your soft femininity.
Men continue to be the majority of degree earners in engineering and computer science, while women consistently gravitate towards psychology, education, and health fields. While the male fields have become somewhat less male, the female fields have all become more female.
And the issue with this is, it sounds a lot like If you step into a place of submissiveness as a traditional wife, you are going to be catered to and you are going to be supported financially. It also teaches that people who are born into feminine bodies have certain gender expectations and that the highest form of vibration is adherence to those gender expectations. And the reason why this is bioessentialist is because just because you are born as a certain sex, just because you are adhering to certain gender identity, does not mean that your highest form of expression is going to be the softness that is generally thought to be in alignment with that gender expression and gender identity.
The gender divide in college majors is stark and clear. Men make up only 27% of bachelor's degree earners in English, but 77% in computer science.
This also creates a lot of transphobia, because if someone who is born as a different sex is now stepping into womanhood, for instance, you are going to be a lot less programmed and trained to accept that trans woman as a woman, because you are now adhering to the wrong idea that the sex that you are born into determines your spiritual vibration. It is more gender politics that are false, that are being spewed and twisted into a spiritual narrative to make you forget that it is actually misogynistic and bioessentialist.
The share of men has declined across most majors. For example, 56% of psychology degrees went to men in 1971, compared to 20% in 2022.
I am a personal life coach and a queer couples coach. If you want to work with me, you know where to find me.
I talk about white people. I talk about liberals. I talk about everybody. There is no body that is more bitter in life than an older, middling, as far as their life circumstances. They've never really broke out. They've never really been successful and great at anything. There's never been anybody that is more bitter, broken, and set in their ways than an older, middle-aged to or past middle-aged black person that hasn't been successful in life.
Your granddaddy picked me because I am a licensed zoologist.
And so for whatever reason, these type of people, yeah, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to get on you.
I have studied a variety of wild animals, and the African male is by far the most savagely cunning.
These, let me break it down for y'all. Older, past middle-aged black men are the most, what's the word that I'm looking for?
This is an opportunity to observe you niggas in your natural habitat and collect data.
Literacy has always been a touchy subject in the black community. So anytime I hear someone making sweeping generalizations about black men specifically and their literacy rates, it catches my ear. More specifically because in today's verbiage, the term literacy means how well can you stand in front of a microphone and say the kind of words that people deem as acceptable in some kind of word salad way where you sound extremely intelligent.
I knew that shit was getting scary when I started to watch black men comparing themselves to women. And I don't want to jump on the bandwagon of this sassy and zesty conversation because there's a lot of zest sitting over here. So I ain't got call it for what it is. A lot of zest and sass over here. But I would never try to put me in the same sentence as a woman. And I was scrolling through my phone the other day and I saw a man talking to a woman. He said, "Look at you and look at me. Do you think that you're worth me?" Is what he said to her. Whoa. And I said, oh gosh, shit is getting scary. Where you think that you should be in competition with a woman.
Imagine for a moment being a young boy growing up in an environment where everything around you reinforces the idea not that you need to learn your math skills and learn how to read so that you can go on to college and then grad school and get a PhD, but how quickly you can use your two hands to become economically viable and benefit the group because the group needs more resources. And then imagine you get proficient at fixing cars. Your literacy is not in books or in math, but it's in using a tape measure. It's in knowing the proportions in which to distribute fertilizers so that you have good farm results, or knowing how to fix a car. And then growing up and hearing people say, because you don't have the kind of formal education that we deem as proper literacy, you don't matter. You need to hurry up and die off because you're in the way. That is exactly what Anton Daniels is saying here.
They are the hardest people to have a conversation with. They overtalk. They know everything, even though they never did nothing in their life. And you can't teach them nothing. And so it's hard to have a conversation because they think that they should be in the same, they think that they should be respected the same way that people that are successful or that great men should be respected just because they are older black men, but they ignorant. They usually yeah, I'm gonna read y'all riot acts today.
And I think what a lot of that has to do with, and why I bring up that jealousy part, is because women have made strides when technically they were supposed to be behind. We lived in a day in society where that woman wouldn't have been allowed to vote, but she would have been. Still, you sit your ass at home when it came time. We live in a society where we all could not get an education. Now we do. A black woman is highly more educated than a black man can ever be.
I was today years old when I was introduced to the idea of bioessentialism. I would imagine this is a term that is known widely across many American college campuses. And if you are deemed, quote unquote, literate, you can have whole conversations on the merits or demerits of bioessentialism and how they exist in today's world. And you're going to basically hear Anton Daniels make an argument for why many feminists believe that bioessentialism is real. And he's going to argue that many of the black men in the black community that don't have these formal educations really need to be done away with. Now, of course, the opposite to that are the young kids in China that are going to school on campuses and universities where I'm sure that there are whole campuses where the word bioessentialism doesn't even appear on a single book.
We live in a society where men statistically are supposed to be making more money, including that black man, but she makes 10 times more than you. I think the dichotomy is you showed up not being man enough, and she's being every bit of the man that you were supposed to be. And now you can sit in front of baby girl face to face and say, what are you bringing to the table? When I thought the niggas were supposed to build it. Ooh. Damn!
They're studying things, and in America, we're studying people, and you're going to have Anton Daniels make the best argument for why studying people is important, and some people simply don't matter because they don't have the quote-unquote proper education.
They're usually, let me tell you something about older black men before we get back to Lindsey Graham. Average older black men, not the younger ones, not the ones that have now started to become more educated. Average older black men, in most instances, are undereducated, can't spell correctly, can't read past a 3rd grade level, usually have fathered multiple children with multiple women.
Ladies, and when I say ladies, I'm talking about black women. Do not fall for the rebrand. I know y'all see the rebrand that is occurring with black men online. You better not fall for that shit. You was less than last year, bitch. You less than now. Remember that shit. Okay? They didn't give a fuck about no black love back then, and they don't give a fuck about it now.
They need to really die off, but they haven't yet, so they become a nuisance for the rest of us, especially the boomers, especially these Generation X, whatever these, anybody past millennials. In most instances, not all, but most of these guys are the devil.
Which do you prefer today, white man or black man?
Black men.
Tell me why.
I have friends who've dated black men, and they said that they're very sweet, very caring,
What do you think about their look?
tall, and then most of them like go to the gym. They have very beautiful smiles.
The only reason why they talking that shit is because they seeing black people swing from trees. Okay? They are still the same niggas that would use you as a bulletproof vest. They are still the same niggas that would sell you into slavery to save their own asses. Don't be dumb.
They demon childs. They bitter, they broken, they think that everybody's supposed to listen to them. And the guy, the older black man crackhead at the corner store is no different than the older black man that ain't never really had to do nothing. He was a part of the union. Come on, man. Come on, let's talk about it now. They are part of the union. They think that just because they had to go to work every day that we supposed to listen to them. Most of them are bad fathers.
On the scale of 1 to 10, how attractive do you think they are?
9 out of 10. Because they have very strong physical appearance, like aura.
Which country has the most attractive black men?
Probably US.
What's the impression of American black men?
Beautiful smile, and then they smell really good.
Okay? Remember who the fuck you dealing with. You dealing with niggas that don't give a fuck about you. Because the community made it very clear that they didn't never have to give a fuck about black women. And that's why they never did.
Most of them are bad fathers. And they mad that most people don't respect them or listen to them because they don't really have nothing to show for themselves.
Do you have any message for black men watching this video?
Just come to the Philippines. I'm waiting for you. Specifically here in Cebu.
Just a friendly reminder. Happiness is quiet mornings, paid bills, a safe home, and peace.
Should broke people be allowed to date? No. Said no, why not?
If you're a broke man, you need to focus on yourself before you're getting ready to date somebody. It doesn't hurt to take a woman to a restaurant. How can you do that if you're broke? You need to be worried about yourself, and then you go find a woman when you got some money in your pocket. It's very simple.
I don't disagree with you, honestly.
There's this really interesting trick that you notice on social media that once you see it, you can't unsee it, where people will start very general and say people need to be more educated or people need to have enough money to date. And then they slyly sneak in men, or in this case, black men, need to have money to date, or black men need to get better educated. And the black man that worked in a union or worked with his hands, the one that was told when he was a young boy, you need to get this money because a man worries about getting money to protect and provide, not education. And then to be told on the back end, because you don't have any education, your opinions about the world are worthless. Well, what's really unfortunate about that is that it's coming from so many different directions, and you see these young ladies that are coming out of college armed with all of this talking point stuff about how the man that is working with his hands for the duration of his life really doesn't deserve any respect or doesn't deserve anything, and that he is oppressing the woman that went to college and majored in psychology or sociology or the soft sciences, that's coming back telling that man who built the stuff that makes the country go that he's irrelevant. And then you have people like Anton Daniels and a host of young ladies that are on TikTok that have been indoctrinated with this, or just are willing to browbeat these groups of men who basically are the punching bag for society and say that you deserve nothing. You haven't been educated properly. You don't really deserve to have a voice in any of this. And then you could watch a woman from the other side of the world say, if you want to find someone that's going to care for you, I will. Did not mention education, did not mention literacy. She said, I just want you to take care of me and love me. Imagine growing up in a society where you're told your education isn't important. You go out, learn to work with your hands, become functional, and then come back to a society of people that have gone to college and gotten a certain education, if not indoctrination, that are basically telling you, you knowing how to work with your hands is useless. Your opinions are useless. You are a plague on the community. They're grouping you in with groups of stereotypical men that obviously aren't the great majority of the black community. And you have other black men willing to do it to get a couple of dollars on social media. And on the other side of the world, there's a woman that's saying, if you're nice to me and you make a decent living, I'll love you. That's crazy. But that is the modern environment that many black men find ourselves in. Time to adapt, gentlemen. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take